Greetings, family. Welcome to Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. If you are new to this channel or podcast, then please subscribe and share our content with your friends. This will help grow our audience. I provide a written transcript in the group with the same name on Facebook for those of you who don't speak English. I also cite all of my sources under Show and Prove section. You can find all of my work under the About section on my YouTube channel and then scroll down to Medium. I use this platform to interact with everyone on my friends list and everyone in my social groups by giving Black business owners free airtime to promote their products and services. I give people in the faith community an opportunity to share the gospel of Jesus Christ and ordinary law-abiding citizens an opportunity to share their special talents and skills to my listeners from the podcast community. After the show, I offer my guest speakers an incentive by teaching them how to create their own podcast and YouTube channel to help them earn extra revenue during COVID-19. I also assist people on my friends list with creating basic websites, finding college scholarships and grants, housing, and legal services, all for free. Our goal this year is to raise $500,000 for our film projects. Hood Liberator Made in Chicago, the war against Willie Lynch begins. First, I would like to thank those of you who have donated to our film project. I encourage people from my friends list and people in my social groups who want to be a part of our film project to please send me your email address to my Facebook inbox. We will hold a private conference through Google Meetings to discuss the best methods of reaching others via social media, people from their friends list, donors, and local businesses. Ghettos Chicago, the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago, mission is to help eradicate urban violence in Chicago through our programs and services. Our objective is to build a bridge between the diaspora and continental Africans through art, culture, and commerce. Ghettos Chicago will be in the business of creating docudramas, short films, theater, photography, fine arts, music, poetry, literature, sculpture, dance, and spiritual development for inner city youth and their families. Once this virus is cleaned up, we plan on launching African tours in order for us to move from behind the computer and make real connections with our global Black family on the continent, starting in South Africa. I created GRCAM, the Grassroots Community Activist Movement, because I got tired of all of the division among Black people. I created GRCAM in 1991 on a site called Gopher. I wanted to create an organization that focused specifically on solving Black issues in America. I wanted to connect with other like-minded African Americans, Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Europeans, African immigrants, and Afro-Latinos throughout the diaspora. This is a podcast where we talk about solving Black issues / African issues using a spiritual perspective as it pertains to the great awakening of our people that has been prophesied. Our objective is to get our film project fully funded and play it by ear during COVID-19. Once this virus is cleaned up, then we will shoot our film and promote our film in selected movie theaters and sell our DVDs. Together, we will put GRCAM on the map and turn my vision for Black America into reality. In 2021 and beyond, the Grassroots Community Activist Movement will be promoting a policy of global Black unity, ownership, and community support. Our objective is to be in a place where we own everything we consume, and we support one another. We're reaching out to our group members and listeners and would like to encourage them to support our film project in three ways: through our virtual store, Gurkham merchandise such as COVID masks, coffee mugs, posters, handbags, and t-shirts. All proceeds will go towards our film project. Two, through our nonprofit organization, Gurkham of Chicago. PayPal page. Donations can be used as a tax write-off because this is a legitimate 501c3. All donations are tax deductible to the fullest extent of the law. 3. You can support us by purchasing my revised book on my Amazon author page. Keep in mind, community support is where we have to go, and please understand, when you're supporting our YouTube channel or our podcast, you're supporting an independent black network which will eventually employ black people in our films, stage plays, and in our actual business. I need African entrepreneurs, especially in South Africa, to come on the show and promote your businesses and ministries to the diaspora and vice versa. Instructions on participating on the show. Once I'm done with my presentation, I will open up the virtual phone lines. First, watch my Facebook Live video called Side A. After I finish with my presentation, then I will open up the virtual phone lines. Just click on the phone icon to interact with me in real time through Facebook Messenger as a voice call, or you can click on the as a video call if you like. This will be called Side B. With that being said, tonight's segmentation is entitled Getting Our House in Order, the Fall of American Empire, and the War Against Black Wealth in America. Before I present my presentation, I would like to encourage all of my Christian friends from around the globe to please pray that Jesus/Yahshua would connect me with legitimate donors, sponsors, philanthropists, and corporations who will help fund our film project so that I can be in a better position financially. Then I can pay a production company who will assist me in hiring professional film crew and quality actors in Jesus' name. Please hit that like button on my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share with all of your friends. This will help get the ball rolling. The proceeds from the film will allow me to purchase office equipment, purchase property in Chicago and in Africa, as well as hire black middle-class professionals who will make sure that our business become effective and successful for years to come. Through Ghettos, Chicago, I will declare war on this Willie Lynch mentality within black society, as well as the colonized mentality in Africa. I am not here for entertainment. I can't sugarcoat genocide. Ain't nothing funny about a child having their brains blown out. There is something wrong with being black in America. Voting is a gimmick. That's how the dominant society play on our emotions, because as black people, we are not allowed to create laws which will benefit our group. Our first topic, getting our house in order. After the Million Man March, I became disgruntled. I thought my voice was never going to be heard because there were more people out there who were more flamboyant than me, and many of them would say anything to win people over to their point of view. There were several things that I wanted to work on in order to fix the major problems in black community, and that was to focus on strengthening the black family and healing collectively from this Willie Lynch mentality within black society. The first thing was to expose quote unquote sacred cows. When people are oppressed, you look at why they are being oppressed. We as black people don't challenge anything or try to figure things out for ourselves. We're living in a different time period than our grandparents, who would ever thought that GRCAM members worldwide would play a major role in getting our story on the big screen. According to our haters, they told us that Africans would not accept the diaspora because we can't trace which tribe we belong to. As I stated before, once we get this film fully funded and made, our next objective is to launch African tours once this virus is cleaned up. When some of my group members from Black Planet used to ask me, why do I focus on Liberia? I explained to them that there was something about the history of Liberia that's not being told. Our ancestors built a republic, and that republic was recognized. I used to ask my group members, did they know how long it took Rome to become a republic? I used to explain to my group members that Black Americans built communities in South Africa during the 1800s. Black America worked for U.S. companies in South Africa. They created Sophia Town and towns in Johannesburg. Bishop Henry McNeil Turner built the AME, African Methodist Episcopal Church. It was out of that movement that gave rise to the Pan-African Congress and the ANC. George Washington Williams, he was a Black American explorer to the Congo. He helped expose King Leopold. There's a reason why we don't know about the other part of our history, because it threatens white supremacy. If we as black people are depending on the public school system to properly educate our children, then you are setting yourself up for failure. Other groups such as Jewish people build their own libraries, museums, cultural centers, and synagogues. Black people who have read my revised book learn more about our history than they did from their public high schools. Black people who participate on my free webinars learn about group economics, socioeconomics, financial literacy, and urban gentrification, because those are the topics I usually talk about. Our second topic, the fall of American empire. American history is a history of white supremacy, atrocities against black people. The only reason why the financial elites keep black people in control is because they make it seem like there is no other options for black people outside of the United States of America, and that's not the case. The financial elites will not allow black people to create a black ownership class. We have lots of black people who are mayors, civil servant workers, and judges on the surface. Then you look at the larger picture. There's a large number of young black men with nothing to do in these big cities. You have all this satanic Illuminati songs in black America that deals with misogyny, violence, and murder. This system wants young black men and young black women to be immoral and weak. All of the work we do on this platform will help raise the awareness about what's really going on in our inner cities across America, starting to resonate. We're pushing the narrative of our story and our ideology. Black people in America need an African plan. Our goal is to encourage our members to apply for dual citizenship in Africa so that we can obtain an independent state on the African continent. I predict that these global empires, the British, the French and America will sooner or later collapse. For example, on MSNBC, you have a commentator saying how racist American culture is becoming, and this hurts its credibility and moral standing in the world. In order for America to have legitimacy, they need black people to be on the front lines defending America's reputation. How can America tell China about human rights violation when America doesn't not treat its black citizens fairly with respect? Ever since the murder of Trayvon Martin, young black people have been protesting in the streets to display their disapproval of the handling of unarmed black males killed in the streets while being denied justice from the criminal justice system. You had this non-stop narrative that's being pushed by the power that be at the time, the Obama administration. All these black protesters were just a bunch of thugs. That's what the mainstream media was trying to tell us. In Great Britain, you had the murder of a young woman named Sarah Arafred, who was killed by road cops. The entire reason for the protest is because the police have been exposed. The UK government is preparing to enact an equivalent of the 94 crime bill. The British Parliament has begun discussing over a so-called police crime bill, which is going to be a massive piece of legislation. It would give the police greater powers in many areas of British law enforcement. The main thing that this bill has done, which has outraged the public, is that it's going to give the police total authority to decide whether or not the citizens can hold a protest. Even if the police allow you to have a protest, they will have the authority to shut down your protest for any reason. In other words, the bill will allow the police to dictate the time a protest will start and when a protest will end. The police will also be able to dictate specific routes the protest will be held. The lawmakers said this is not a police state, but it sure looks like one. The government in Britain is sending a message. The people in Britain can see what's happening. In the past, the police had to negotiate with protesters. Britain's citizens showed solidarity with the protesters in the United States during the George Floyd protests. What started out as a protest against U.S. policy became a protest against UK policy. The mainstream media will do all that it can to misinform and disinform you. That's why it's important to support this platform, the New Black Voices of Media. The grassroots community activist movement is dedicated to raising the standards in black society, morals, and spiritual revival in the 21st century. It has been 400 years that enslaved Africans were brought to America. No real justice has been done for our people. No reparations, no land of our own. What's keeping us at bottom feeders in Western civilizations are the race traitors who walk around open and free with no fear of retribution for their treachery. The worst of these are black coons and sellouts. This is what's destroying the Black Power movement in the 1960s. Coons posed as black militants infiltrated black organizations and began steering the movement off a cliff with criminal activity. They want they would like to take over Gracam. Not on my watch. They know to stay clear. The only panel that are raising the discussion about black economic empowerment are black Americans because we're behind enemy lines. We need to look at our problems globally. We're 40 million, and out of that, we probably have 10 million authentic black people. Everybody else is fighting us as a team while we're out here trying to survive as individuals. If black people don't support their advocates, then after a while, black people won't have any advocates. White supremacy is a vicious, evil, cruel ideology. Moving back to the South will not solve our problems in America. In contrast, on the continent, the former colonizers have convinced continental Africans that white people are superior. We as black Americans don't buy into that, and this is the tension between the black community and the Asian community. The problem is black people have been patronizing Asian businesses for 50 years, but it has not been reciprocated. We gave them an economic base. When the LA riot happened, public opinion was on the side of Asians because they assumed black people were jealous of Asian businesses in the black community. However, the mainstream media didn't tell you that the government was giving Asian businesses loans and lines of credit. Many Koreans had a contempt against black people. We as black people don't want to discuss investing in these African nations. According to NBC News, the Biden administration are allowing millions of illegal immigrants across the border to make sure that black people never have an opportunity to compete. They're going to overrun the black health care system in black areas. They will also overrun the job market. The financial elites have decided that it doesn't want to be a republic anymore. It wants cheap labor because it has to feed its growing debt. What's a republic? A republic has borders, it has a common language, and it has a culture. You have elected officials, congressmen, congresswomen, and senators aiding and abetting illegal immigrants across the borders. They give them sanctuary cities to protect them from law enforcement. The financial elites hire coons and sellouts to do their biddings. Every time you see a black person on mainstream media such as CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, Fox, and other outlets, they're doing the bidding of white people. They will tell us we need to stop complaining and America is the best place to reside. Sovereign citizens are the people who want to overthrow the government. They are always white men. The whole purpose of this podcast is for me to connect with other like-minded black people. We're trying to build something positive for our racial group starting in Chicago. Our third topic, the war against black wealth in America. America's war on black wealth and why black Americans, or to be more specific, American descendants of slaves need our reparations. I created Gracam because I wanted to create a place where like-minded black people from around the globe can gather and discuss solving black issues locally, nationally, and internationally. 12 years before Facebook, I created Gracam on many sites and posted discussion forums on about 300 social networks in all. The main sites that I visit on a daily basis was Gopher, Netscape, Tripod, Black Planet, Lycos, Yahoo, MSN, and AOL. After 15 years of being ignored by established black organizations in Chicago, including the Black Church, I decided to write and publish my story, The Solution for Black America. That was back in 2010. I got ripped off because I paid in full for editing and publishing. Come to find out, they only published my book. They did not edit it. I was unable to hire a lawyer. That's when Sister Renee came on the scene and assisted me in editing my revised book. In 2004, I joined Facebook and began setting up my social groups on there. I tried to keep my Christian groups separate from my secular groups. Over the years, I noticed many of the sites I was on were either shut down or they got rid of my groups. My goal this year is to encourage all of my group members to help me get our story on the big screen by sharing this video podcast so that the world would take our cause serious. Before Black Wall Street, there was another successful black town in North Carolina that was destroyed by white supremacists, known as the Wilmington Massacre of 1898. The white press in Wilmington described the event as a race riot caused by black people, as was typical of such events. Since the late 20th century and further study, the insurrection has been categorized as a coup, the violent overthrow of an elected government by a group of white supremacists. The coup was the result of a group of state white Southern Democrats conspiring and leading a mob of 2,000 white men to overthrow the legitimate elected government in Wilmington. They expelled opposition black and white political leaders from the city, destroyed the property and businesses of black citizens built up since the Civil War, and killed an estimate 62 more than 300 people. It has been described as the only incident of its kind in American history, because other incidents of late Reconstruction era violence did not result in the direct removal and replacement of elected officials by unelected individuals. The Wilmington coup is considered a turning point in post-Reconstruction North Carolina politics. It was part of an era of more severe racial segregation and disenfranchisement of African Americans throughout the South, which had been underway since the passage of a new constitution in Mississippi in 1890, which raised barriers to the registration of black voters. I came across a recent article in the LA Times entitled "A Tale of Two Reckonings: How Should Manhattan Beach Atone for Its Racist Past?" According to the article, the city of Manhattan Beach once seized a black family's oceanfront resort and ran the entire community of black beachgoers out of town. A task force was formed and an apology draft, but residents of this very white town have pushed back on the notion that they must atone for injustice committed almost a century ago. The same white supremacist attitude that created the problem is still there and defending what they had done. The article goes on to say, as the city's inaction captured more headlines and it ignited greater calls for justice, one Los Angeles County official stepped in and did what she said felt obvious, apologizing to the Bruce family and agreeing that the land should be returned. The article keeps talking about Manhattan Beach, but they keep using the phrase Bruce Beach because white supremacists took the land and then renamed it because they want to rewrite history and erase atrocities. This is what a race war looks like. If you would like to know more about this article, then go to my YouTube channel and under About section, scroll down to my Medium page to read the full transcript, especially under Show and Prove. These career politicians are trying to bait and switch to tell us about illegal immigrants and DACA kids who don't belong on the soil, while you haven't done anything for black people who have helped you get into office. Think about family. The entire city rose up to target us. This doesn't happen to any other group in America. And if it does, they voluntarily migrated to this country, unlike our ancestors who were kidnapped and forced into enslavement. The Latinos have real estate, yet my people who built this country don't have real estate there anymore because it was stolen. I am talking to the Latino community. Your children are allowed to come here illegally and live their dreams. Y'all need to stand with black people who gave you the ability to even come here. You and your people are enjoying all types of luxuries that you didn't fight for. White supremacists use eminent domain as an ethnic cleansing weapon across the United States to destroy black neighborhoods. It's not accidental that we keep getting targeted. Charles and Wilma Bruce's legacy was robbed and stolen. If you want to raise your children in this environment, then that's on you. For those of you who are serious about taking our talents and skills to the continent, connect with me and let's build satellite communities within the inner cities in at least 10. I am just trying to help my people who are trapped in American ghettos by connecting the black community with legitimate African entrepreneurs who can trade their products and services and vice versa. In time, we plan to expand to the Caribbean as well as Brazil, God's willing. In Africa, we are the majority and we have a better chance at surviving than remaining in the United States as sitting ducks. White supremacy is global. White supremacists conquered the world 500 years ago. Africa got on ships and used it for tourism. Europeans got on ships to dominate other people's societies and create colonies around the globe. Chinese people use gunpowder for celebrations. Europeans use gunpowder for mass slaughter and domination. It got this way because white supremacists stole the wealth from Africa and Brazil. This is how Europe obtained its wealth. Don't take my word for it. We are in the information age. Do the research. Compare Europe's dark ages to the present. Nothing is going to be straightened out until our debt is paid. Black America as a whole only owns 2% of the nation's wealth, while white America as a whole owns 90% of the nation's wealth. according to inequality.org. We do not have the option of ignoring this fact. Let's talk about it. I am opening the phone lines through Facebook Messenger. And a lot of these topics, these are real issues. So, and yeah, a lot of people don't want to talk about this kind of stuff. But that's why I call my show Help Stop the Genocide in American Ghettos. So it doesn't have to be specifically in the inner cities, but I'm just saying that's the term that I like to use because I want to keep this show authentic and talk about what's really going on and trying to connect with other like-minded black people around the globe that's want to do something positive for our racial group, because we're not just suffering here in America, we're suffering on the continent and everywhere else that black people are at, even in the Caribbean. So we have to learn how to work together. And that's the whole purpose of me creating this organization, the reason why I created the groups. Not to say how smart I am, but to reach out to other like-minded people that has special talents and skills and that want to do something positive to help our racial group out. Because it seems like it's only the people that's, the criminals and people that's making us look bad, the coons, they get all the airtime and you always see them on TV and in the movies. But it's time for us to create our own narrative. And that's basically all I'm trying to do. Again, you don't have to be a Christian to be a part of this organization, but you have to be a law-abiding person. Also, non-black sympathizers are welcome to be a part of this organization, but I have to say that, it's black people's responsibility to build this organization because it's for us. So, I appreciate non-black sympathizers that will be interested in working with us. But again, I'm just doing my best to try to attract qualified black people that's going to be on my management team to help turn these ideas into a reality in my lifetime. I don't have another 29 years to waste. That's how come now I want to go ahead and put it on the big screen and just do the best that I can with this film and pray that it's going to be a success. Because I'm not just trying to make a film just to get it out there with my name on it. I want to make sure it's going to be a quality film. I want to make sure I hire a qualified screenwriter too. So that way it can be presented, hopefully in black schools. And hopefully it was dawn on the black community that they should accept the ideas that I placed in my book and also in the film. Because after all, this is to help them, help strengthen the black family. I came from a toxic family. It wasn't cool. And so I'm using my own experience as my own testimony that, hey, I've been there. And I just want to make sure other people that I would say that's, in those inner cities don't have to go through what I went through. Also, I'm reaching out to our black middle class professionals. And I'm going to do the best that I can to make sure that I have the capital so that I can attract those black middle class professionals to come back to help in the community. I'm not asking them to relocate their families in the inner cities. I'm just saying for their talents and skills to help build this, to let black people know that we can, turn around our situation if we are on one accord. But again, and this is why I think a lot of people don't like the where I'm coming from, because I don't sugarcoat it. I keep it real. I don't associate with con artists. I don't associate with hardened criminals. I don't associate with rapists and pedophiles. And I'm not going to have those type of people in my business. I'm not discriminating, but it's just that I'm raising those standards, the bar. And it doesn't matter to me what racial group that person belongs to. They're going to be excluded from this organization because this is a Christian business. And we want to make sure we pass down positive information to the next generation. And again, my whole purpose is to get this organization up and running here in America, so when I do come to the continent, my work will be able to speak for itself, and I will be in a better position financially to hire the best of the diaspora, and for us to go there with tangibles to encourage continental Africans to join us. We're going to do this. We're going to replicate the same thing like we've done here in America. We're going to screen people, make sure we separate those that want to do us harm within our own racial group. So that's important. We don't want to deal with the Pookie and Ray Rays. You know, if that's, they feel like they want to be in a life of crime and, you can't tell them nothing, that's on them. But we're not going to sit up here and embrace that. That's not cool. And we want to be able to, like I say, raise the bar. All right, with that being said, I'm going to open up these virtual phone lines, which is not really a phone line at all. You're just going to contact me through Facebook Messenger, either as a video call or as a voice call. All right.